You're familiar with the tale, the ruthless commander, the scorching advance, the famous line, "War is hell." It appears as a segment in some textbook, a myth of absolute conflict, yet we've polished it over time. We've transformed a meticulously planned horror into a mere tactical operation. Imagine if I revealed that the actual narrative doesn't revolve around scorched tracks. It centers on an officially endorsed plan for intimidation, greenlit from the top echelons. It involves troops set loose with permission to pillage, where scavenging served as a cover for pure retaliation. It describes an intentional offensive aimed not only at troops, but at shattering the psyche to crush a population's resolve for all time. And right in the core of that abyss, certain episodes get downplayed by the record books. An icy stream, a severed span, masses abandoned in the chaos. This is the account we never learned in school. We'll follow the trail from the ruins of Atlanta to a holiday present tied up in dread. We'll face the cold calculations that label this atrocity as justified. And we'll pose the lingering query that troubles us even now. Did this mark the unavoidable close to a savage struggle, or was it something infinitely more sinister? This reveals the genuine price of forcing Georgia to wail. But prior to diving in, make sure to hit like and subscribe to our channel to back our growing community. The fall season of 1864 has arrived, and America's Civil War stretches into its fourth consecutive autumn, its resolution nowhere in sight. Union Commander William Tecumseh Sherman stands at a pivotal crossroads. Following a long and grueling blockade, his soldiers have captured Atlanta, a crucial hub for the Confederacy. This victory comes just in time for President Abraham Lincoln, who desperately needs such a boost ahead of the November national elections. While Lincoln celebrates the report, Sherman turns his attention to the next phase of operations, a bold stroke that will reshape the conflict's direction and leave an indelible mark on the South's terrain. Sherman's objective stands clear: to lead his forces from Atlanta toward the seaside port of Savannah, effectively dividing Georgia and crippling the enemy's ability to continue fighting. His strategy proves audacious. It embraces total war, striking not only at combatants, but at the essential supports of everyday Southern existence. He famously proclaimed, "I intend to make Georgia howl," capturing his aim to force ordinary people to experience the full brunt of conflict by demolishing the networks and resources sustaining the uprising. This operation plays out amid a divided country where family bonds fracture under opposing allegiances. Northern soldiers, worn down by endless battles, draw renewed energy from their latest triumphs. Still, Sherman understands that triumphs on the field fall short. He aims to shatter the will of Southern civilians by exposing them to war's true toll. His tactics represent a profound departure from traditional fighting. They seek not merely to defeat adversaries, but to dismantle the social fabric upholding them. Once he secures Atlanta under his grip, Sherman communicates his bold vision to President Lincoln and General Ulysses S. Grant. He lays out a daring proposal. There's no value in occupying Georgia with our forces. The total destruction of its rail lines, homes, and citizens will cripple their war-making power. Grant offers swift approval on November 2nd. His concise response reads, "Proceed as you have planned." This endorsement from Grant marks a pivotal evolution in Union tactics, adopting fiercer tactics meant to shatter the morale of the Southern population. By November 15th, Sherman launches his army of 62,000 men on their famed expedition. They set out from a city engulfed in flames after systematically razing its industrial facilities tied to the war effort, while sparing places of worship and private homes. Such ruin serves dual purposes: a calculated military step and a psychological blow straight to the Confederacy's core. Sherman's approach stands as an early example of total war in contemporary history, a strategy focused on obliterating an adversary's societal underpinnings rather than just besting its armed forces. In readying for this mission, Sherman orchestrates every detail with meticulous care. He divides his troops into two wings, commanded by Major Generals Oliver O. Howard and Henry Slocum. These wings will march about 30 miles apart, extending their swath of influence, yet staying connected for coordination and reinforcement. This deliberate spacing allows them to confuse any resistance, disrupt Confederate defenses, and maximize the havoc inflicted on Georgia's critical infrastructure. When Sherman's forces set off on their fateful trek, the soldiers feel a mix of determination and unease. They grasp that their mission goes beyond ordinary duties. It's not just about confronting the enemy, but about unleashing destruction across an entire territory. Their aim extends past reaching Savannah. They must sustain themselves from the resources of Georgia's countryside as they go. Having severed their supply chains, they rely solely on whatever the land provides. Even so, while Sherman instructs his men to avoid wanton looting of personal homes, many troops see the expedition as an opportunity for plunder. Foraging parties fan out to gather food from prosperous farms, but these efforts frequently spiral into ransacking residences for valuables like silverware, clothing, and anything portable that could fetch a price or serve as a memento. The soldiers' actions reflect both survival instincts and a burning desire for payback against those they regard as adversaries. As they traverse Georgia's picturesque countryside, rolling hills dotted with cotton fields, the harsh reality of battle sinks in deeply. The Northern troops encounter frightened civilians caught up in the path of this unrelenting campaign. Families flee their farms at the sight of the oncoming horde, desperate to protect themselves and their livelihoods. The march proves grueling. The men endure brutal conditions, from torrential downpours that last for days to bone-chilling nights under open skies. They battle profound exhaustion while slogging through mud-choked roads and navigating treacherous terrain littered with remnants of strife. Yet despite these hardships, morale holds steady within Sherman's legions, fueled by their conviction in the mission's ultimate purpose, to bring a definitive end to the devastating conflict. During the ensuing 37 days, Sherman's progression becomes synonymous with widespread ruin. Tracks get wrenched apart, estates lie barren, farmhouses erupt in flames. Although civilian fatalities stay relatively low, thanks mainly to Sherman's explicit bans on harming non-fighters, the psychological trauma seared into the Southern population runs profound. Sherman's strategy stands crystal clear. By escalating the war's brutality to the point where it erodes the resolve of ordinary Southerners to persist, he seeks to hasten the overall end of hostilities. In his view, such ruthlessness proves essential. By undermining the Confederacy's resources and morale, he believes it will safeguard more lives in the long run. As Sherman carves his way through Georgia, he faces scant resistance. Rebel detachments scatter thinly across the landscape, lacking numbers. Joseph Wheeler's cavalry harasses the flanks in futile gestures, utterly outmatched by the sheer magnitude of the Northern formations. The clash at Griswoldville lays bare this lopsided reality. The local Georgia volunteers suffer casualties 10 times those of the Union side. Despite staring down such overwhelming might, pockets of Confederate holdouts attempt to block Sherman's path, yielding negligible results. Their futile stands only highlight the relentless momentum of his rampage, a juggernaut that levels entire communities to ash and debris. More than physical wreckage, though, Sherman's offensive etches enduring scars on the Southern mindset. Families once steadfast in their loyalty now question their commitment, having witnessed firsthand the annihilation wrought by invading forces. The terror sown through Sherman's doctrine emerges as a formidable barrier against any renewed defiance. Amid the widespread destruction of this campaign, One particularly grim incident stands out: the abandonment of fleeing enslaved individuals at Ebenezer Creek. On December 9th, as Northern forces prepared to cross a pontoon bridge, Brigadier General Jefferson C. Davis issues a directive allowing only Union troops to pass over. When formerly enslaved people attempt to trail behind, they find themselves stranded as Davis commands the structure to be released and float away. The haunting sight of frantic souls struggling against the icy waters overshadows Sherman's entire endeavor. Countless numbers get captured or cut down by rebel cavalry lurking along the opposite shore. This tragedy sparks outrage within segments of the Union forces and persists as a dark stain on Sherman's legacy, a moment that raises profound questions about compassion amid the chaos of battle.